All right. So, welcome to the Paranormal Times, everybody. Today we are talking with Kent Wilson of KenTenn Paranormal out of, Kentucky. Kent, hello, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining me. Kent, tell me a little bit about your team and where you're located and who is a part of your group.
Well, we're based out of Western Kentucky. I can't really say a particular town, Mayfield, if we have to pick one, but that's where I'm located. But we're a large team. We have 16 members.
Oh, wow.
So we have members all the way from Paris, Tennessee to Metropolis, Illinois. So pretty much all of northwestern Tennessee and western Kentucky and a little bit of southern Illinois.
Yeah. How long have you guys been around?
We are going on our third year as a team.
Okay.
I've been investigating since 1992.
Oh, wow.
Mine,
That is,
mine is 3 years that I had to take off to recover from brain and spine surgery. So
oh, wow. Well, that's a long time. That's like pre-ghost hunters, right?
yeah, I'm the OG around here. I predate the para pop culture and all that stuff. Me and my best friend, we got into it actually in middle and high school, and we would always check out like everything we could on parapsychology, ghost hunting, everything. And back then, we'd get strange looks. It's not. It wasn't normal. And that is, I don't guess it's normal now, but it's more accepted, But back then, it was like people thought we were like odd, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Well, that's really, really cool that you're one of the OGs in the field. So I'm very excited to talk with you then. Let's see. How did your team come to be? You said you've been around about 3 years. Is it just kind of a group of friends, all like-minded, getting together, or how did you come to be?
Pretty well just a team, friends. When once I got okay to get back into it from my brain surgery and spine surgery, I kept talking about that I wanted to get back into it, and then I wanted to go investigate again. And I had a friend, and she was into investigating, but she had never been. And so finally, she was like, "You need to just stop talking about it and do it." So
Yeah.
that's when KenTenn became born. Was that moment, and then obviously, as long as I've been doing this, I've got connections. I figured after 3 years everybody forgot about me, but it didn't happen. And so like one of my team leads is I was she was in a group that I helped before, and
Mhm.
then just we just put out a thing. Anybody that was interested, you
Yeah.
come to our
Yeah.
first meeting, and we would see how they fit. So
That's wonderful. So what is Ken 10's approach to investigating paranormal phenomenon? Like how do you when you get a call to investigate either a private residence or you go to a location that's like a public location, how do you approach your investigations?
we are definitely a scientific method. I mean, I'm actually a clairvoyant, and I actually have another member of my team, Tiff, that's a clairvoyant. But we approach everything scientific because I it's like I tell my team all the time. I say this like every meeting we have. It's a lot easier to go to a client and say, "Well, this is what I got on my thermal camera, or this is what I got on my voice recording," than it is to say, "Well, I feel there's something over here." It's a lot easier to have that scientific proof. They
Definitely.
can call it psychoscience all they want to, but it's still a science.
What's your favorite piece of equipment that you like to use on investigation?
Well, my current favorite, my favorite, my standby, the one that I trust all the time is my thermal camera because you can't fake a thermal camera. But my favorite piece right now is my Paratech, which it's the same technology as the Ovilus,
Mm.
but and it, and I just like the science behind it, because I like a lot of those, technology. There's no pre-recorded words in this one, so it's all and every time we use it, we get like actual intelligence responses to what we say. So that's my favorite piece of equipment. And we just got a brand new SLS that we've only used twice so far. So Esther has the new one in it too. So
That's neat. Yeah, that's a piece. The ALS is yeah, it's a piece of equipment that I would love to have, but I just don't because of the price point. One day soon, maybe. Um, so let's see. How do you all work? You said you work scientifically. How do you work to differentiate between paranormal phenomenon and kind of natural things happen? How do you debunk things? How do you work that process as a team?
we always look to debunk before we present anything as evidence. Uh, that's like the SLS, like we were talking about. That technology is still so new. I've debunked a lot more SLS than I've used it for evidence. Uh, and so like if we have something that we think is paranormal, we go back and see if we can produce the same effect ourselves, so we can debunk it. Uh, and like if when we're doing an EVP session, when we start the recording, we make sure that whoever's in the room that they say their name on the recording, so we know whether it's them or something else. And
Yeah.
and then, like I said, with the thermal, this this that's you can't really debunk that. You either have something or you don't. So,
Right.
like the best thermal image I ever got is one of the places that we are over that we go to all the time that we use as a training location is the abandoned hospital
Mhm.
in Cairo, Illinois. It's been abandoned since 1992. So there's like absolutely no electricity, no water. There's not even any breaker boxes. Everything's been removed. It's been gutted. And one of the times we were in there, I took a thermal on the third floor, and I took the thermal and I had the image of my two team members that was up there with me, and then there was a third full body heat signature right beside him. So I had Dennis, Denise, and somebody or something that I didn't know.
Wow. Wow. That's a really cool catch. Um, so let's see. What uh have there been any particularly like memorable or significant cases that either you or your team have investigated that you'd like to talk about? You just mentioned the hospital in Illinois. What's the name of the place?
It, when it was in operation. It was the St. Mary's Hospital, St.
St.
Mary's
Mary's.
Medical Center, St. Mary's Medical Center.
Gotcha. Are there any significant experiences that you've had while you were there beyond that one thermal, or any other locations that you go to that like really get you excited?
Well, we've had lots of experiences, Carol. One time we actually had took other team there with us, and I don't know if you know JB Coates, but she's pretty big, and she was live while we was there, and I was with her. I was the one showing her around the hospital, and while we were live, I got a big scratch across my face
Whoa.
in what used to be the psych ward. But I guess the craziest case that we had last year was we went to an Anderson Hotel, which is in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky, and it's known to be violently haunted. Matter of fact, it had been shut down for 3 years because of the violent haunting, and they just reopened last year, and we were the second team to get to go through, and but they want it. I don't care what they say, they want it to be that way. Like there's like four verified murder suicide things that are going on, and like one was a 19-year-old girl who came all the way from Michigan to this little hotel. Calling it a hotel is kind of being nice. It's a transit hotel, is what it is, or what it
Gotcha.
was. So she came all the way from Michigan, and she was searching for some kind of answers. She with crayon, she drew pictures and then Bible verses all over and hung them over her bedroom wall, and they're all still on the wall. And then she killed herself by cutting her wrist, and the bloodstained mattress is still there. And then there's another room. This guy was he lived there, and he was the alcoholic. He drank himself to the point. that he hung himself in the closet, and all of his liquor bottles are still there. And sometimes investigators, when they go bring him a bottle of liquor, we didn't bring him a bottle of liquor because I don't. That's just pop culture crap. But but he also ran prostitutes in and out of the room. So there's a lot of issues with him. And then there's another bloodstained mattress that they really don't even know why it's bloodstained, but they keep it there. And then there's a bloodstained bathtub where a mother committed suicide because her husband and kids just got killed, so she checked in to kill herself, and they left that. So I mean, they kind of wanted that way. I mean,
Yeah.
and their little gimmick to get people to go there is they claim their ghost bite. And yeah, that was my reaction until I went there, and then but I actually got a bite. It looks like a bite. It didn't feel like a bite, but I was in the bathtub, and I asked permission to get in the bathtub. Of course, you know, I always respect the spirits, you know,
Right.
and the spirit said yes and no, and I was like, I can't do both. So I got in and was doing the little EVP session. You know, we was recording it on voice and video both. So, um, and so I was, you know, just asking random questions, and it told me to get out. It told me, and my thing is, if you tell me to get out once, I'm not going to get out because I'm trying to get answers, you know. But if it tells me to get out 3 times, I get out. That's my rule. So it told me to get out. The third time it told me to get out, I was getting ready to get out of the bathtub. And like I said, it's one of the old fashioned, you know, 40, 50 bathtub. So, you know, I had to grab onto the sides and lift myself up. And as I was getting ready to get out, I felt like a really deep Indian burn on my calf.
Mm.
And it just burned. And, you know, so we went back to our base camp, or what we had as our base camp, so we could switch, you know, areas. And when we looked at it, it looked like a great big bite on my calf. And and I mean, of course we have pictures of. I even broke down and got a tattoo of it. And so I have it with me permanently. Yep.
You've
Can
got
you
a
see it?
ghost bite permanently. That's really neat. Um,
And then also while we was there, you know, the me and Dennis went together, and then we had 3 girls. Only 5 of us went, and so me and Dennis stayed together, and then the 3 girls stayed together, and they went, and we had just got done investigating the drunk room, and we radioed to the girls because it was their turn to come there. Not they might want to be careful because that spirit did not like females. I mean, it was already established. I was like, but they did it anyway, and then so my niece is on my team, and she was 19 at that time, and so she was trying to get some interaction with the guy. Asked the guy if she could have a job, you know, because he ran prostitutes out there, and we got an EVP that said $50 or free $50 a day, free room, and then Tiff got grabbed in her private area, like she got yeah, so yeah, definitely something there. At that point, I ended the investigation for the safety of my team.
yeah.
But 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 we're going back this year, so I don't know. So that's our craziest investigation last year. Now my favorite investigation was actually a residential one, and so I won't say the location or any of that stuff because I don't do that, and I don't. And for the record, I don't think anybody should do that. When
No,
you're
I
doing
agree.
when you're in a residential, you're there to help the family and make and give them confidence. You don't need to be worried about likes and all that stuff. You're there for and yeah. So I have a big issue with people who do that, as you can tell. So we was in Clinton, Kentucky. I will tell you the city, and we went there, and this family. It was a young family, a husband, wife, and 2 young daughters. Like one was 2, and one was probably like 9 months old. So like little bit, and they were having all kinds of stuff, and we you know we our process when we do a residential investigation, we have a 3-step thing. When we do a phone interview, I usually do the phone interview. Then we do an in-person interview, which is with me and two of my team leads, and then we do the investigation. And so while we was doing the in-person investigation, come to find out that they had been having foster kids stay there, and this one decided she was going to dabble into witchcraft and some Ouija board stuff. Which I mean, a Ouija board by itself is nothing wrong with it. Uh, it's but the issue is you can't open portals, and if you don't close them, that's the issue. It's not really with the Ouija board, and so that's pretty much what happened there. But but when we got there, we was doing our spirit box session, and I mean it was a quick one too. I mean it was like as soon as we got there, within the first 30 minutes, we started getting stuff, bang bang bang, and
Mhm.
like we got the spirit's name, we got how he died, we got why he didn't cross over, that he wanted to cross over, and that he wanted us to help him cross over, and I mean, uh, and the family, the clients, I hate that term, but the clients, they were afraid that it was the evil spirit, and we asked him, and it ended up being a teenage spirit, and he said, "No, I'm not evil. I'm mischievous." That was his exact words, mischievous, and he died. He said he died. He drowned in the river, and Clinton obviously is the river town. They have a, they have a, you know, and he died. He drowned with his mom and stepdad, and he specifically said stepdad, which was kind of odd. And he didn't cross over because he saw his mom and stepdad cross over, but he didn't cross over because he was afraid of the light. And so with all the information, so we helped him cross over, obviously, and then we took the information he gave us, his name and how he died and all that stuff, and we was able to match it with a newspaper article from 1899. Is
Really?
that
Oh,
is that?
wow.
And I mean, and what was really odd is it was 1899, and the newspaper it specifically said stepdad, and they in 1899 they don't typically say stepdad; it's just dad.
Mhm.
And but yeah, it was the boy's name and his mom and his stepdad all drowned.
That's incredible that you were able to corroborate that with historical records. That's great.
Yeah, it was one of my best residentials I've ever done.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like it. That's a really cool experience.
And
Um,
and they were so thrilled about it that later, almost a year later, her sister called us to come to their apartment because they was having experiences, and her sister's husband was a skeptic until they started having activity. So it was, but those ended up being a whole different thing. Those ended up being the apartment complex was buried on top of a Native American burial ground.
oh, wow. I bet
Okay.
there's probably a lot of those in Kentucky, aren't there?
Yes, 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 and that's one of the many reasons our team's kind of unique is because I'm actually 1/8 Cherokee, and they think I got my gifts because great my great grandmother was a Cherokee medicine woman.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm actually one of the few people in Kentucky, especially in this area, that actually knows how to deal with Indian spirits. Because that's a whole different crop of stuff. And we're actually where we live. We actually have the Trail of Terrors run right through us. So we deal with a lot of Native American spirits.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, that's really special that you have that ability to, do that, and work with the Native American aspect of the paranormal. So that's really special, Kent. So
I didn't always consider my gift special. So, I mean, I do now, but I didn't growing up. But I finally came to a point when I was like 12 that because I had a relative come to me after he died, after he passed, that we didn't know he passed yet. He was in the hospital, and he came to me and told me that he had passed, but he had crossed over, but he wanted to let me know that everything was okay, and that he wanted to make sure that let me know that have a good life, not to worry about him. And that was the point that I figured I either had to learn to use my gift or be afraid of it for the rest of my life. And I wasn't going to be afraid of it for the rest of my life.
definitely. Yeah. Oh, wow. Um, So I just have a couple more questions for you, Kent.
Okay.
So what advice would you give to someone who's kind of just starting out in this field as being one of the OGs, with decades of experience? What would you say to someone who's interested in kind of starting their own paranormal team?
If they're new, they need to find somebody to tag along with for a while. I don't ever recommend doing it by yourself. I mean, there's just safety issues, and and you may walk into a evil or demonic. There's not that many demonic. We're talking about, less than 1% of hauntings are demonic. It's not like it is on TV or YouTube where everything's demonic. But I mean, you could walk into a situation like that, and if you're by yourself, especially new, you're unprepared for that. So, uh, at least find somebody to be a mentor for a little while, and then if you want to join your own group, just find other people you that you bond with that have the same passion, and make sure that you do everything the right way. There's definitely a right way to do stuff. You have to respect the spirits. The spirits have feelings, believe it or not, just like we do. They were once living, so you treat them that way. Don't provoke them. uh, you know, that's a no. That's a big no in my group. I mean, no provoking. You know, you know, and do some homework when you go into a location. Know the history of it. You know, and and you have to be prepared for anything. I know some paranormal people that's like, well, I'm not going to go into something that's evil or possibly demonic. And I was like, you can't do that. We're paranormal investigators. It's our job to help people. We can't be we if we're afraid of it, what's that telling them? Don't be afraid. Just educate yourself. Like I'm actually also, I'm trained to be in demonology. I'm a trained in demonologist and all that stuff. Luckily I've never had to use it, but it's something I have in my toolbox if I need it. You know, and just educate yourself. And if when you start using the new fancy tools, make sure they're legit before you put them in your toolbox. We test everything for 4 investigations before we actually put it into use. Like when we started using the Paratech, we tested it with the spirit boxes and other things that we knew that was getting good answers, and to make sure it wasn't just random words that was putting out. So education is big in this field. You know,
Yeah, that's a good advice about testing your equipment for a few investigations before, officially putting it into use. And kind of on the topic of education for people, I know paranormal conventions are a great way to learn about the community and about techniques and talk to people and get their advice. And you all have a paranormal convention later this year, right?
we have a very big one. I'm excited about this year. Yes.
Yeah, so just tell me a little bit about it. I know we talked about it before we started filming, but tell the people about it.
So this year we're having we always have it in October. This is our second year because for whatever reason, Graves County has decided to adopt the Halloween season, which is okay with me because I love the Halloween season. But so they do haunted graves where they have an activity every weekend, and that's kind of how we got our name. The haunted graves Paracon. And so this year we last year we started out small, and I thought we was going to ease into it again this year, but I got with my friend Kelly Schaefer, and so she's helped me plan it this year, and it's blown up. We've had to move it to we're now having it at the Expo Center at the fairgrounds, and we got 10 speakers now, and five of them are authors, and then we got Gavin Kelly, of course, who's he's got 5 shows on Paraflex and Amazon streaming. So I'm excited about that. We got a team from the other side of Kentucky that he's actually the county historian as well as being a paranormal investigator. His team is a Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Paranormal, and we all know what Whiskey Tango
Yeah.
Foxtrot stands for. And and but he's actually bringing in his ground penetrating radar, and he's going to do a demonstration. And then we're actually going to take that invitation only, so you can have an invitation if you want. The Friday before the Paracon, so the 11th, we are going to take it to Camp Beauregard, which is it was a Civil War basic training camp,
Oh.
and now it's a cemetery. And they put 5,000 soldiers died there from smallpox and other stuff before they even got in battle. But so the Daughters of the Confederacy put up a monument in 1920 of where they thought the bodies were, but they don't really know. So we're taking the ground penetrating radar because I'm actually one of the people over the Camp Beauregard. So we are actually going to do an investigation and use the ground penetrating radar to see if we can actually locate the soldiers. There's
That
also there's also a witch's grave there, so there's a lot of history there. And I'm talking about like one of the old fancy, back in the 1920s and 40s, in that era when they buried a witch, they would either put a fence around it or a chain, and this one has a chain.
Huh. Yeah, well, that'll be really cool to use that GPR and see what's under the ground.
Yep.
I've always wanted to see one of those in action. So yeah, I'll probably
And
take you
then
up on that.
you're welcome to come. And
Oh.
then we got the one of the vendors I'm excited about is is the sharp side of the paranormal. He makes he makes custom REM pods and that kind of stuff with a 3D printer, and he's actually bringing his 3D printer to the Paracon, so you can actually get custom stuff right there. And then of course, like I said, Gavin Kelly's going to be there as a speaker, but he'll also have all of his own stuff. And JB Coates is a speaker, but she'll have all of her own stuff. And then of course, Kelly Schaefer is a speaker, plus help me plan it, and she'll be there with all of her books and stuff too. And we also do it for charity. So so a portion of our proceeds goes to the Merriman House, which is a place for abused women. So because it is the domestic abuse month, awareness month in October. So and so yeah, it's going to be a good time this year. Like I said, we got I'm excited about the lineup of speakers we got. Like I said, uh, Kelly actually committed last year because she couldn't. She had a prior engagement for last year's convention, so she told me, she's like, when you set the day for this year, she's like, I'll be there. So that's how she got there, and so that was a big name for the beginning. And then I actually went to the same high school as Gavin Kelly, so that's and so we've always had a connection, and but he's also extremely busy, so he kept telling me, I don't know if I can do it, but then he ended up committing, and then uh, and then JB, she we're friends from Gavin's convention last year. That's we became friends, and she was one of the ones that we took on our tour of the Carroll Hospital. So and she's always extremely busy, but she just out of the blue one day it was like. And then we got like several other speakers. We got the Elite Vixen Paranormal and the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot, and just several big name paranormal. If you're
Oh,
paranormal, you know them. But then we got some that like Gavin and JB and Kelly that they're big enough that even if you don't know, even if you're not in, you know them. And like you said, it's going to be an educational thing for people that are just interested in stuff. Like one of the topics that we're going to have uh, is going to be it's like the importance of psychology in paranormal investigating. And then we got Cody from Sharp Side of Paranormal is going to talk about the importance of picking the right equipment. And then Whiskey Tango Foxtrot with their radar, they're going to talk about the importance of history of par- paranormal investigating. And then we got a speaker that's going to talk about uh, the like the crystals, the importance of like crystals and stuff. And
yeah.
so we pretty well got every topic going.
That's really awesome. I think it's going to be a great time and very educational for everybody who comes. And it sounds like you've got some wonderful speakers lined up. Um,
It's
so
$10 a ticket.
yeah. So Ken,
$10, 12 and under is free, and we're going to have like a whole kid corner. So I mean, people don't have to worry about watching their kids. We got one of the authorized Ghostbuster groups. We got the Ghostbusters of the Commonwealth coming, and they're going to be in the cosplay stuff for photo ops, and then we're going to have carnival games, and like, and even we're even gonna have a PlayStation for the kids to play while they're there.
That's
So
awesome. Kent, we're running out of time. If you could let people know how to get in touch with you, what's the best way for people to, like, what's your social handle? What's your email? Things like that.
the best way to get a hold of us is through our Facebook, and it is KenTenn Paranormal, and make sure it's KenTenn one, together, not dash, because there was a team that's no longer together that was Ken-10. So ours is just KenTenn combined, and and then and yeah, and then you can contact me through there, or Kent Wilson is my personal on Facebook if they want to have me up there, and then we're launching our own podcast next week, and it's a Paranormal Addicts podcast. So
Paranormal Addicts,
the Paranormal
ATTICS.
Addicts.
Okay,
Yep.
cool, awesome. Well, Kent, it's been so nice talking with you. And I look forward to meeting you later this year.
I definitely look forward to it.
Thank you.